what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. I'm back here at Walker Ford in sunny Clearwater, Florida, and we're doing another side-by-side comparison. We got the new kid on the block, the redesigned 2019 Ford Ranger, and it's going up against another mid-size competitor, this 2017 Chevrolet Colorado. So it's been a few years since we had the Ranger in play. They dropped out of the scene back when this segment was called compact truck. Now it's mid-size, and you have a lot of different players from a lot of different companies trying to bring their A game to the table to say, hey, this is the truck you need to buy. So let's go ahead and start off with the front of the new Ford Ranger for 2019. Love the styling that they did. They were really able to bring some of the old Ranger into the new Ranger. I like the style of the headlight housing. I like the grille area, especially on this XLT trim level. 3 different trim levels. This is an XLT. I like the metallic gray at the top where it has the Ranger logo embossed. And I really am digging the different styles on the side of the grille compared to the center. Everything is functional, everything flows. As you work your way down, you have a large opening here for that intercooler, and that's what you're seeing behind there is that intercooler, because remember, this is a 2.3 liter turbocharged engine with that intercooler. Metal at the front, metal at the back. Only truck in the midsize segment to have metal front and rear bumpers. Like the use of the silver, very tastefully done. Like what they're doing up on the hood. When you go up onto the hood, very muscular, and it keeps that low hood that really was tied in with the older Ranger. Let's go over and compare it to the Chevrolet Colorado. So you can see the design of this Colorado. Colorado's been around since 2004, if you could believe that. This being the Duramax diesel, hit the showroom floors in 2016. This is a 2017. There's that big, huge Chevy bow tie, such a big logo in the whole car industry. This one has the Z71 tow package on it, off-road package. I like the color, I like the grille shape, and I'm actually digging the headlight designs. Now, the Colorado is expected to get some type of refresh coming up, so it will be interesting, but this truck is exactly the same as you see that a 2019 would be. So came out into the scene, the diesel in 2016, still the same 2017 and going into 2019. You can see that the front of the truck is just a tad higher than the Ranger. That's going to separate. And if you look at older Rangers, like I said, it was that type of styling where the nose kind of slopes down. This one is a little higher. I do like the body lines that they stamped into the hood. Really just gives it a little extra personality for that mid-size class, because I'm telling you, the mid-size is on fire. Let's go ahead and check out the sides of these two trucks. All right, guys, time to check out the side of the new 2019 Ford Ranger. This is an XLT trim, and it's finished in this beautiful saber color. It's like an orange tinge to it, really shines and sparkles like a diamond. I love the gap that they have between the fender and the top of the wheel. Really gives it an off-road looking appearance to it. And I also like the way that they took that gray metallic and brought it all the way around the wheel arch. Great size wheel, that's a 17-inch wheel. I like the design, and it just really works so well with that saber color. One of my favorite touches to making the Ranger stand out is I like the side vent. This is an actual functional vent, like the Ranger logo, and I like the way it says XLT. Remember, you have 3 different trim levels. This one is smack dab in the center. Time for a zonk. I would have expected, this being XLT, these mirrors to have that beautiful saber paint on them. So they're just ABS plastic. I don't know how they're gonna last over the years, if they're gonna fade and whatnot, but I would like to see some of that paint spilled on these side mirrors. As we continue our way down on this Super Crew cab, more of that ABS plastic, would like to see those painted. I do really like the running boards that they have on this XLT because they're just enough to give it usable space, but it's not too large to where if you go down a trail road, you're not gonna just collect a bunch of brush with it. Really nicely done. As we work back to the bed, I like the body lines that they add just to give the bed a little extra personality. You can see that space I was telling you about, and there's that box frame underneath. All new box frame for this Ranger. This one is a sport level trim, so there's gonna be some extra niceties that come with that. And then to wrap it off, I'm gonna have to zonk it here. This just bare metal exhaust tip. I would like to see a chrome tip on it, especially because it is XLT and it's a sport trim option. So that's a place where we're going to zonk it. But let's go ahead and check out the side of that 2017 Chevrolet Colorado. Let's go check it out. All right, guys, time to check out the side of this 2017 Chevrolet Colorado. Here we are. So with the Z71 package, you get this 17-inch wheel, brushed aluminum, grayish color. You know, they're not my favorite wheels, but they do work with this truck, especially because the truck is finished in this metallic gray color. But they are 17-inch, so compare them side to side with that Ranger, same wheel and tire setup. As we go down, you'll see the nice badge that they put, letting you know that underneath that hood is that turbo diesel engine, that Duramax diesel 4-cylinder turbo. We'll get to that in a little bit, don't you worry. Go down the side of it. What I do like on the Colorado, and I'll have Tom swing around, is I like the way the fenders come out. There's a nice, almost like flared fender look to the front of the Colorado, and that is a very nice touch. Another thing that I think is smart is where they place that Colorado name. I'm noticing that it's creeping higher and higher on newer Chevrolet products. I wouldn't want to see it go any higher than that. Very tasteful running boards that have been put in. Nice look. Very similar to what's on that new Ranger from the factory. And as we go back to the side, there's some more of that flaring. So I think one of my favorite parts to the exterior of the Colorado is that flared fendering that's going on even on the bed of the truck. That Z71 off-road package prominently displayed. And then as you can see, when it comes to usability, you do get a little bit more usability with the side here of the bumper that Chevrolet really has incorporated so well, not only into the Colorado, but also the Silverado. Let's go ahead and check out the beds. All right, guys, time to drop down the tailgate. Before we do, I like the look of the tailgate, and I'm just really digging this Ranger in this saber color. Like the style of the actual taillight housings, and then there's that Ranger logo that it's embossed in the actual tailgate. Like I was telling you, knock, knock, those are metal bumpers. So only truck in the midsize segment. Let's go ahead and drop the tailgate. Lots of usable space, and I like what they did here with the actual tie-down hook. So you have lots of areas where, depending on what your payload is, if you need to strap some things down, lots of different strap down points to make sure that your stuff is not going to slide around. Also, you'll notice with that back window that is a sliding rear window. It's manual, but it's there, which is always nice to have, especially if you need to pass something through or run something through that window like a big piece of 2x4 or whatnot. But just really kind of wraps out the whole end of the truck. What I would like to see is some LED lighting. Some LED lighting and a power source even at the XLT price point. But let's go ahead and see what we're working with the Colorado. All right, guys, tail end of the business on the Colorado. One thing I automatically want to point out is I like the way that they have the same body color onto the bumpers and also spilled onto those mirrors. Very nice touch, and I think one of the things that I feel is usable, it just doesn't look really great, are these nice little steps here on the corner. What they've done is they've increased the size of those so that guys and girls that have steel toe boots can get that boot in there to get into the back of the truck or get something out. But I like just how clean it is. I would like to see the Chevrolet logo maybe embossed in the back, or the Colorado name embossed in the back like it is on the Ranger, rather than just something that might get easily knocked off depending on what you're using this truck for. You can see that you're going to have your ability to take your trailer and just hitch it up to the back, and then when you open up the back, nice bed liner, something that obviously could be added to that Ranger that we looked at. We have powder coated tie down hooks, 2 and 2. Now you can add more. There's a lot of other locations to add, but from the factory you're only getting 4. Compared to the Ranger, you're getting 6. All right, guys, we got the hoods popped. That means it's time to check out the power sources of these two midsize trucks. Let's start with the 2019 Ranger. So very nice to see. Both trucks are using hood struts, no more hood props. That is that 2.3 liter turbocharged engine. So that's that EcoBoost motor. It's been taken from the Mustang and the Focus RS, but before you get too crazy about that, it has been tuned specifically for truck use. So you're looking at 270 horsepower, 310 foot-pounds of torque. You could tow up to 7,500 pounds with the proper tow package on this. This truck weighs in around 4,400 pounds. MPGs, you're gonna get about 20, 21 in the city and almost 25 on the highway. Let's take a look at that Duramax 2.8 liters. So 2016 was the first year that this engine was available in the Colorado. So that 2.8 turbo diesel is gonna put out 181 horsepower, and you might not get excited about that, but here's where it really comes in. Tree stump pulling, 369 foot-pounds of torque. This thing though, redlines at 3,000 RPM, if you could believe that. They're using that 6-speed automatic with manual shift mode. The truck weighs in around 4,500 pounds or so, so very similar to the Ranger. And with the Duramax diesel, actually has the same tow capacity, 7,500 for both. You're looking at MPGs in the city about 21, on the highway about 30 miles to the gallon. Very interesting take on the mid-size truck segment. Let's go ahead and take these two for a spin. All right, guys, here we are in the 2019 Ford Ranger XLT, that's Sport Edition. Now, if you want to talk about price, this one comes in at an MSRP right around $34,000. A lot of it has to do with this one not being equipped with the 4x4 option. But let's go ahead and go to the door panels. I like the way that they broke up the sea of black with a splash of silver. It's not much though, so I am going to zonk that I wish they would use a little bit more color on the door panel. Another thing is the top portion of the door panel, very, very hard, right at the base of the window, very hard, but you do have some faux leather on the armrest. It's very soft, but for some reason, they use this cloth material on the back portion. I wish they wouldn't do that. Coming into the inside, you have a harder dash material. There is a storage little area right here for you to throw up your phone or maybe some pens or whatnot. They do bring some silver into the interior. It's a flat silver, and they also bring some chrome around the air vents. This is really probably my favorite part of the interior when trying to navigate through different things is I like the infotainment system. Very easy to use. You could actually go through your climate controls, which is dual auto climate, from the control panel. It's all touchscreen. Or you could use the controls which are down lower in this area by the radio controls. I'm gonna zonk it. I wish there was more nice gray color rather than this black. It's hard plastic everywhere, but I would like to see just a little bit more gray, especially just a sea of black here going on. You do have two 12 volts and you have a nice cubby with two USB jacks down there. So two phones could fit down there, snug as a bug. You could even put a larger phone, maybe even like a mini iPad there. You do have some black plastic around the shifter. This is what's going to be controlling that 10-speed. This has the 10-speed. No matter what Ranger you get, they all have that slick shifting 10-speed automatic transmission. I wish they added a little bit more higher grade material. Two cup holders. You have your good old-fashioned e-brake. Nice leather boots around both the shifter and the e-brake. And I really like this armrest. It's a great size. It's very soft to the touch. You open it up, there's a lot of good usable space in here. You have places, this could be like a little snack tray. Maybe you got some Mike and Ike's, some Good and Plenty's. I know my dad loves Good and Plenty's. Put some Good and Plenty's here, pop a couple every now and then when you're sitting in traffic. You got a place for your pen or Slim Jim, which is a very nice touch. I know Henry Ford III is a big Slim Jim fan, so that he actually specifically wanted that put in the truck. And then the seats. Now, they're cloth, but they're soft and they're supportive and they actually look pretty good. Nice durable cloth material. I like the contrast stitching and I like this rib design that's in the lower portion that goes into the back. Gives it a little bit extra personality to a seat that could be pretty bland. Both of them are manual control, so that's something even at the XLT trim level to take into consideration. Why don't you come on over here and I'll show you the business end behind the wheel. All right guys, the business end. Let's start off with the seat a little bit more. This has, like I said, the XLT, both bottoms are electric. The problem is that adjusting the back is going to be manual. I don't know why they do that. Well, I do know why they do that. That's a place to cut costs. But I wish even at the XL trim level, you would have power seats, both bottom and back. Like the overall steering wheel, the size is great. There's this nice soft leather material around the whole steering wheel. A little bit of that gray is brought in. The buttons are really easy to access while you're holding onto the wheel firmly. And then there's the dash setup. So you have an analog speedometer, analog tachometer, and what's really nice that I like is you have this digital display in the center that you could scroll through all different sorts of functions while you're driving your Ranger. But just a very, very nice setup to the interior. When it comes to space, there's plenty to be had. Lots of room side to side, and like I said, 6 feet tall, plenty of room from the top of the inside of the roof in here. But let's go ahead and check out the front seat of the Colorado. All right guys, here we are inside the Chevy Colorado with that Z71 off-road package. Let's check out the interior. Lots of darkness and some weird materials going on. So let's look at the door. There's no leather or faux leather to be had anywhere. The armrest is a very, very hard rubber material, and so is that back portion is a very weird rubber material. There's like a faux carbon fiber that I'm not really digging. I'm zonking that faux carbon fiber is terrible. If they're not trying for carbon fiber, I don't know what that design you would call that. But what I do like about the door panel though is I like the split between where your cup holder is, and then there's like a little extra short, shallow pocket right underneath the armrest, which is kind of cool. You could put your phone there or whatnot. But as we transition to the dash, it's kind of interesting because it feels a little bit more squished forward, so you actually have some more room in front of you in the Colorado. The overall design I'm not really loving. There's hard plastic everywhere that you touch, just like in the Ranger at that XLT trim. The infotainment, I do like the infotainment system. It is a little slow, but I do like the color. I like the fonts. This one is equipped with navigation, very nice touch. As we work our way down, you have, it's not dual climate control, it's just single, one temp, but it looks very tasteful. I like the rubber feel of the buttons. That's a nice touch. And then down here you have some nice toggle switches for emergency hazards, your exhaust brake, because remember this is a turbo diesel engine powered Colorado. And then what's also very neat is you have options. You could actually heat your whole seat or just the back portion. So you actually have touches like that you just don't find in the Ranger. Nice cubby area with one USB jack and one 12 volt. So when you look at the Ranger, you're going to get a little bit more connectivity when it comes to powering up your different materials. There's some of that faux carbon fiber I was telling you about. 2 cup holders, and then this is what's going to be shifting you through that 6-speed automatic transmission. I'm fine with the layout. It's just this material, I'm not really digging this faux carbon fiber. Nice little cubby area. You have a leather covered armrest, hard as a rock, but it is covered in leather. You open it up, pretty good amount of storage with a USB in there, and then to wrap it off are these leather seats. Now, when it comes to being comfortable, they're not. I don't like sitting in them. I've tried every which way from Sunday to adjust the seat because they both have power bottoms and manual backs, just like the Ranger. But for some reason on this truck, I cannot find a good setting where I feel comfortable. It's really bizarre. I have plenty of room, so that's not a problem. It's just something going on with my lower back portion, and I've adjusted the lumbar that I'm not really digging. But why don't you come on over to the driver's side and we'll see what you're working with over here. All right guys, here we are, business end. Like I was saying, the power bottoms, manual back, lots of room, just I can't get it to fit my body, but steering wheel's a good size. The design is a little, I don't know, there's nothing really exciting going on. And these weird buttons that they use, I'm telling you, it reminds me of a Game Boy or an NES controller. So like I've said in some other videos, you know, up, down, left, right, A, B, start. I mean, is that how you start the truck? I don't know. What is cool, and I'm going to see if Tom can work his magic, is you do have controls on the back of the steering wheel. Now, you may think that these are paddle shifters. They are not. You could actually go into your radio controls. You could go into different functions on the LED screen that's in the center. Let's take a look at the dash setup. So you have very simplistic tachometer. You have analog speedometer. You have your fuel gauge and your temp gauge. And then in the center, you have a very nice LED digital display. I like the color. I like the font. And I like all of the different functions of it. Even a voltmeter, very nicely done. Look at this, oil pressure. These are things that I would like to see in more trucks, especially inside the Ranger. But let's go ahead. We talked about you as the driver. Let's go see where your passengers are going to be spending their time. All right, guys, backseat time in the Ranger. Come on in. Let's take a look. So lots of black material, but it's actually not too bad when it comes to comfort back here. The back has a little bit of an angle to it, so at 6 feet tall, I don't feel squished, and that's a really nice thing. I think one of the things that helps, especially somebody with longer legs, is I like the way that they cut out the back portion of the seat. Gives you just a little bit more knee room and leg room than if it would come all the way flat, all the way down. You have a pocket here to put any kind of books or devices, and then in the center, this is where it gets really smart, and you can see that it's the year 2019. 2 USBs and a 110 volt. That's really smart because Ford knows that, hey, many people have families, and you're gonna have your kids back here, and you wanna help them keep their mouths shut by not allowing their devices to die. But like I said, overall, I'm very comfortable. It's got a nice armrest, very, very soft. This is almost like, I don't know, it's like a microfiber pillow or something, some type of memory foam. I'm liking this armrest. 2 cup holders, and then you have a manual sliding window back here. 1, 2, 3, nice touch. Hey, I need a drink, pass it to me, thanks, there we go. And then you say, hey, oh, you have a question for me? And then you just close it, and then you don't have to talk to them. But let's go ahead and take a look at the back seat of the Colorado. All right, guys, backseat time of the 2017 Chevy Colorado. Remember, I do understand that this is a 2-year-old truck and that the Ranger is brand new, but you go to a Chevrolet dealership, the Colorado is still basically the same overall, even in the year 2019. Here's the crazy thing. The back seats are actually more comfortable than the front seats. I sat in here, and there's a nice cush to these seats, full leather, so I'm really digging that. Here's what I was talking about on the Ranger that's a plus, but in the Colorado's a negative. The backs of the seats are flat. I wish they would have cut it in, just like the Ranger, to give you a little bit more leg room. That would help. But you have a nice pocket here. I am going to zonk it because I wish, like I said, look at my legs, very close, and I didn't move the seat. So if your driver's 6 feet tall, like I am, this is what you're going to be dealing with. I didn't move the seat, so if it was cut out, I would have a little bit more room. I'm impressed though. USB, 2 USBs and a 12 volt. I'm not going to zonk it because there isn't a 110 back here. I'm sure if you go check out a new one, I'm sure that they have them now. When it comes to the center armrest, now here's the weird thing. The armrest in the front is hard like a rock. The armrest back here is hard like a rock. But the problem is, how am I supposed to really use the arm? Are these supposed to be, oh, I was going to say these were cup holders. These are actually elbow holders. So you actually have a nice comfortable place to rest your elbow in this plastic hole here, and you actually have 2 choices. And I wonder, you know, if you're driving, maybe you have a teenage son or a teenage daughter, God help you. But if you do, and you're taking them out on a date because they can't drive yet, I would like to see one person put one elbow in here and then the other one. That would be really romantic and cute. But I'm confused on that. Seriously, I'm confused because turn it this way so I could actually have somewhere to put my elbow. That's why they call it an armrest. And then just like in the Ranger, you have a sliding rear window. Here's another plus for the Colorado. I like this release a lot nicer than in the Ranger. The Ranger, if you're not paying attention, you might be fumbling with it, trying to open it. With this, it's really nice because you just use your thumb, and it has that nice pass-through usability. And hey, if you are driving your teenage daughter around and the boy starts to do something you're not happy about, make them go out in the bed and they can talk through the window. And then if you don't want to hear them anymore, you just close it. But anyways, if you're ready, I'm ready to take these two trucks for a spin. Let's do it. We're rolling out of Walker Ford. We're in the 2019 Ford Ranger XLT. Let me go ahead and step on the loud pedal. I'm telling you right now, it's surprising how this truck gets up and goes. Remember, it's that 2.3 liter EcoBoost motor, 270 horsepower, and I think it was very, very smart of Ford to change up the turbo, the intercooler, and the tune to make it for better everyday truck use. I like in the Ranger how you're sitting up nice and high. You feel like you're in command of the not only the truck, but also the road. Guys, pulling away from the light, what I love about the Ranger, visibility is great. You get a whole suite of safety features, blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, and all that great stuff. So you're not only gonna have a usable truck each and every day, but it's also going to keep you very, very safe. Seats are so comfortable. I wish more vehicles, cars, trucks, SUVs, boats, planes, helicopters, even rowboats need to use these seats. They're very, very comfortable, and I wish that more would use it. But here we go, merging onto the highway here. Easy peasy. I mean, I could do this blindfolded. Maybe next review we'll do that. Blindfolded drive portion of the review from Walker Ford. I don't know if they'll love it, but I'm sure some of you will. Just cruising along, very quiet on the cab. Now, another feature, just want to point out again, is there's a button right next to the instrumentation housing where you could actually electrically fold the mirrors. That's going to allow you to get into tighter spaces, because I'll be honest, when you're looking at the mirrors, they're on the larger side, but the good news is there's mirror inside those housings that's very large as well, which gives you great visibility as you are changing lanes and whatnot. Pulling out, like I said, from a dead stop, we're off and going. I like the sound that gets pumped into the cabin. It just allows you to hear what's going on, and when it comes to the engine noises, that's a pleasant addition that you don't get in a lot of the other trucks in this segment. But just love how smooth this truck is to drive. Very, very easy, very comfortable. AC controls, like I said, if you want to go manual, they have them there for you. If you want to go touchscreen, guess what? We have that as well. Let's go ahead and try to accomplish a left-hand bend here without any traffic. On the brakes, tip it in. Great feel from the front end. Roll on throttle, add it, and we're off. Nice and smooth. And then when you need to merge on the highway, look out, here we come. But speaking of cruising, we're going to cruise back to Walker Ford because it's time to try on that 2017 Chevy Colorado with that Duramax. We'll see exactly how lightning fast it is in a second. So we'll be right back. All right, guys, we're rolling out of Walker Ford. We're in the 2017 Chevrolet Colorado with that Z71 off-road package. Pulling away with the Duramax turbo diesel. It's very smooth. You do get that usual diesel clatter that a lot of times people that are diesel aficionados, they want that sound. They really don't want an engine that's just totally stone quiet. But, you know, like I was saying earlier, the seats up front are very firm. They're supportive, but they're super firm. So if you need something a little bit softer, you might be having to go buy some type of cushion or something, because compared to the back seats, I don't know where they changed up the material. Everything in here control wise is easy to find, easy to read, easy to understand. It is a little simplistic, and I think overall, I think we'd all agree that when it comes to Chevy trucks, whether it's the Silverado, the Colorado, they don't have the most upscale of interiors. Let me go ahead and step on the gas. 6-speed automatic transmission. Remember, this thing has more torque then the Ford Ranger, but when it comes to horsepower numbers, not even close. 0 to 60, you're looking at around almost 10 seconds in this Colorado. One of the things that's kind of weird is when you shift the 6-speed automatic into drive or you're going into low, it's actually quite a while back. Like when you slide the shifter, so if I'm in park right now, you can see where my hand is up here. When I go into drive, you really got to go far back, whereas with the Ranger, based off of where the position of the actual shifter is, it's not that whole arm's length throw to where you have to really bend your arm back to put it into drive. So I find that to be just a little bit more easier in the Ranger compared to this Colorado. Gauges, I like the digital display in the center. Very colorful. You could use your Game Boy control buttons, like we pointed out earlier, to go toggle through the different options. I don't like the feel of the buttons, and I don't like the way they look. Like I said, it reminds me of an old game controller, but they really do a very nice digital display there. Simplistic on the tach and the speedometer. I would like to see maybe a little bit of trim in there because it's pretty dark. Let me go ahead and do an acceleration test from a light on the gas. It's really making most of that power at 3,000 RPM with that turbo diesel engine. Speed is governor restricted at 99 miles an hour, so they don't want you to reach that century mark. They want to keep you right under 99 miles an hour. But overall, it's quiet in the cabin, even with the diesel engine. And I like the way that the dash is pushed forward. My only thing is, and obviously we're comparing it to a brand new 2019 Ranger, is I just like the appointments of the interior a little bit more in the Ranger. But overall, this dash, since this diesel came out onto the market, which was 2016, this whole setup in here is the same. But it's very spacious. I just don't like the seat, and it's hard to get the proper position for your body. I've tried many different ways to get it to tailor to my body, and it's just not really working that great for me. Visibility out the front, sides, everything is great. Good size mirrors, so that's a really good thing to help with just overall visibility as you're driving down the street. Steering feel, very good feedback from the steering. We're going to try to go into a little bit of a turn here just to see how it tracks in the beginning of the corner, the middle of the corner, and the exit. So we're going to go into this left-hand bend here. I'm on the brakes. Very good brake feel, good modulation. I tip it in, nice, smooth. It doesn't sway or lean a lot, which is really good. And then on the throttle, that's where you're just gonna have to be a little bit mindful. If you're pulling out into traffic, this thing is not a rocket ship by any means. You know, we were kind of debating maybe if we got another truck behind the Colorado to help push it, maybe then it would accelerate a little faster, because that Ranger at the end of the day, 0 to 60, 6.7 seconds, 6.8 seconds with that lightning fast 10 speed. The engine is actually really, really great with the sound. It doesn't sound really tinny or anything, and the 6-speed shifts well. It's just, you know, there's that long drop, that time period where you gotta wait for it to drop into the proper gear to get you going once you floor the loud pedal. But once again, into a left-hand bend, really smooth, roll on throttle. That kick down from the 6-speed is a little bit more intense than anything that the 10-speed has. And like I said, if you need a merge, you better get going, get that steam building up to properly merge onto a highway like we're doing. But overall, it's nice to see the different style of trucks in the mid-size truck segment. Probably one of the most competitive segments in the whole auto industry is that mid-size truck, because you have so many different flavors to choose from, not only with brands and their models, but also all these different trim levels. Nice to see though that Chevy is thinking of somebody who's a diesel fan, needs that extra torque down low to help them do whatever it is they need to do, whether it's work, play, or a little bit of both. But go ahead and step on it, kicks down. I think somebody running past us just flew past us on foot, but that's not what this truck is about. And you know, I can sit here all day and zonk the speed of the truck, but that's not what it's about. This thing has a totally different agenda than the Ranger. Just the Ranger's a little bit more flexible. Using this, if you were not using this to tow all the time or something like that, I would say get a different engine option. But if you need something with that low down grunt, you know, it's good. Steering feel, I like the size, the thickness of the steering wheel, just nothing really to look at. And remember, 99% of your time is inside the truck. You know, that other 1%, you're fueling it up, you're parking it and walking away. And that's really the big deciding factor, is when it comes to buying a vehicle, I don't care what vehicle it is, if you don't look back after you park it, you bought the wrong vehicle. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this comparison. All right, guys, it's been a wonderful day here at Walker Ford. Hopefully you've been able to get some information on these two trucks in this comparison. There's some pluses, there's some minuses on both sides of the camp. You need to decide though which mid-size truck is the best for you, because guess what? It's a challenge, because the market is filled from everything from the Colorado to Ranger, Tacoma, and Canyon, Frontier, lots of different choices. You need to get down to places like Walker Ford and see what is the right fit for you. But definitely got to give a huge shout out and a thank you to Frank Walker, Weston Walker, Tracy, Steven, Benji, Mark, Austin, Denise, Greg. Everybody here at Walker Ford is so accommodating, especially with getting these rivalry comparisons together for you. If you are new to the channel and you're just stopping by, click that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you. Thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rides family. We appreciate all of your support and love. If you haven't checked out my different forms of social media, you know what they're called: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all Raiti's Rides original content all the time. If you want some merch, click that link in the bottom of the description, takes you right to Spreadshirt. And then finally, the man of the hour, you missed it, guys. He actually lifted the back of both of these trucks. Tom Mosher, Big Guns McGee, lifted the Ranger, lifted the Colorado. Next up, we're gonna go after that Frontier at the Nissan dealership. So Tom, get ready for that. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.